Welcome to the Chamber Vibes podcast with your host, Brittany Timmons, the Greater Guthrie Chamber of Commerce CEO and President. In this podcast, you will hear from local guests who will discuss topics such as leadership, small business, and our vibrant community. You'll also hear success stories and tips from amazing local businesses, dive into important news, meet community leaders, and find out how you can get involved in our community. From the Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful and historic downtown Guthrie, America, here is Brittany Timmons.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of Chamber Vibes. It's great to be back in studio. I won't name names, but there's been a certain important person, part of the show, that's been out of town for a few weeks, so I've not been able to. He may or may not be waving in the background here. I haven't had a chance to do an episode, so I'm super excited to be back in studio. So today, I have my friend Jeff Cole with Wonderful Spirits on. So how are you doing?
Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, a nice little walk over here.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got a nice view of downtown
That's
Guthrie.
right.
I know. Can't go wrong here at the Second Banana Media Studios. So let's dive in and just talk all things Wonderful Spirits. So I know you guys have been here for a while in Guthrie, but let's just talk about the background and what you all do.
Yeah, so like I said, we've been here for a while. So Wonderful Spirits, formerly Prairie Wolf Spirits. We've been here. We opened in 2012, or that's when the building was built, and we opened for business in 2013.
Longer than I thought.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It
Yeah,
has.
and just in terms of like downtown Guthrie, it's a blink of an eye. It's a very short amount of time. But for the craft distillery world, 2013, 2012 was actually still kind of in its infancy. There was only a few hundred distilleries doing what we do nationwide, and now there's over 2,000. So
wow,
it's been a lot of growth in that amount of time. But it's pretty cool to think, Oklahoma's first distillery was also one of the first, very early shaker and mover in the national craft distilling scene at the same time.
in the first, capital of Oklahoma.
That's right.
I
We got a
mean,
theme going.
I know we do. Lots of firsts here in Guthrie.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's see. So 2013, the guys that originally owned it, they were the Merritt family. Very cool guys. I'm still friends with Hunter. They ended up selling it to the group I work for in early 2018, and I was hired in late 2018. And we kind of just picked up the torch, carried on what they were doing, making great gin, vodka, and coffee liqueur for the next couple of years. And then of course 2020 happened.
Right.
Who can forget COVID?
and how did you pivot? I know lots of people know, but there may be some people watching or listening that don't know how you pivoted in 2020. Pivot's just the word.
Yeah,
it's just the word of 2020.
Pivot is totally the word.
I get tired of it, but it is what it is.
In a sort of an incentivized program went nationwide. Obviously, a lot of businesses were struggling during that time in the manufacturing business industry. Everybody basically shut down because their workers had to go home and all that. But while that was happening, the Department of Health and Human Services nationwide, they put out a sort of an all-points bulletin to all distilleries that said, hey, you can convert your business over to a temporary FDA-approved facility to make hand sanitizer for the relief effort. So it's a lot of history that goes back to distilleries being tapped by the federal government, like since World War II even, because ethanol is it's a multi-use product, and so they were basically going off of this blueprint from World War II to allow distilleries to make raw materials for a relief effort. So we were able to pivot really quickly. We took advantage of a chemist that we had working for us at the time. And we put together a hand sanitizer recipe very quickly and got pushed through FDA again very quickly.
Right.
Teamed up with a bottling plant in Oklahoma City and another team. Another group of folks that were helping us to label bottles. So there was basically 3 companies all in on this, and we were able to supply basically the whole United States Census Bureau with hand sanitizer.
That was going on.
That was census was going on at that time, just because our we were very good at it. We had gotten really good at it really quickly. It was a very cool thing. It was like 80 folks that came together to make it happen. So once that was over, obviously that was kind of that was fruitful for us, and so we were able to reinvest that money back into the business. hire some more employees, turn our model from just being a Prairie Wolf distillery into this sort of house of brands. So that's when we created Wonderfolk. We brought on Derek Duty, who's our GM and head of sales and marketing, and he sort of took over how we were getting into the market, saw a lot of our weaknesses, and really did a great job of turning our company into something that we could not only go statewide with, but regional. So now we're in Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, and Nebraska, as well as Oklahoma,
Very cool.
Only kind of growing from there. And our growth has been, it's been great. We've been doing really well with the Same Old Moses whiskey brands and the Garden Club, which is or Garden Society now, I should say, which is basically another clear spirits line. So it's another gin, a flavored vodka, another vodka, but just a little higher end. So those two products, Wonderfolk, Same Old Moses, and Garden Club, were really created in late 2020, early 2021. So that's a pretty young product. And we also have, of course, the tasting room now. Our building was originally 2,000 square feet. Now we're over 25,000 square feet just here in downtown Guthrie. So it's been pretty monumental expansion really quickly in the last, like I said, 2 to 3 years.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so you're still like you said, you're still distilling. That's hard to say.
Still
distilling.
Yeah.
Prairie Wolf.
Yes,
So people can still get Prairie Wolf. If you loved Prairie Wolf, you can still get Prairie Wolf.
One of my
it didn't go away.
Prairie Wolf did not go away. As a matter of fact, we doubled down on that brand.
Okay.
We wanted it to be. Actually, we had a lot of cries from the local marketplace, local cocktail bars, restaurants that were saying they wanted a locally made product that would fit into something they could, with the right kind of guidance, fit into their cocktail program at a really good price point and make money for them. Obviously, it makes money for us because we sell it too. And so we go in with them with these sort of like traditional style spirits to make cocktails that are traditional but with locally sourced spirits. And they're very like, again, I keep using this word, but it's very traditional. So we took the recipe that existed, retooled it a little bit, doubled down on the London dry style of gin to make something that a bartender could put in as well and say like, okay, we're not going to use insert big English style gin here. We can use something made in Guthrie. We ended up doing such a good job with that. We submitted it to competitions just this year. This is our second year to submit to competition, but this is our first year to go with Prairie Wolf. And so we submitted it to several award, judgment panels around the country, and we got a lot of really good responses. As a matter of fact, the Ascot Awards based out of Louisville, Kentucky. So if who Fred, why am I forgetting his name? He's an Oklahoman, just like a bourbon reviewer. He owns a company called the Ascot Awards. So we actually won the highest honor you can win for a dry gin. It was double platinum there this year. So, and it's a very affordable product too.
Right.
So Prairie Wolf is definitely still here. It's definitely making waves in terms of how we're perceived from our other other distilleries around the country and judges as well.
I've actually been able to convert a few people that were drinking another brand of gin, which will remain unnamed, and now only do Prairie Wolf or Wonderfolk.
Yeah,
I love that too.
So the Garden Society, the Garden Society, and the Prairie Wolf gin, they are as good. And I'm a gin guy. I have a lot of experience in bartending, and I'm obviously biased, but these are products that are as good as any gin you can buy. And you'd think like, oh, it's made in Oklahoma, so maybe it's like subpar. Like, I'm sorry, it's not.
It's not.
We actually hired a really great consultant company. I've got several master distillers from around the world that I'm able to speak with on a daily basis.
There you go. Got it on the screen.
There you
right
go. Yeah,
there.
so that's the Garden. Yeah, that's the Garden Society. So it used to be Garden Club. Now it's rebranded Garden Society now.
I like that. And where did that name come from?
So Garden Society or Club or both?
Both.
Okay, so Garden Club. If you live here in Guthrie, you're driving into town, you can see the sign when you come in. It says "Welcome to Guthrie, a Garden Club city."
Yes.
So we just wanted to dive into that because right up the street over here you've got the Apothecary Garden.
Yes.
If you've ever made your way through there, a lot of those botanicals in there, they are botanicals that we could potentially use to make gin. So those are medicinal plants. the medicinal plants that's like the whole inspiration for why gin became gin. Alcohol was looked at as a medicine of its time, and they figure, you're gonna put one medicine, you might as well be able to throw in the oils from these other medicines, and all of a sudden you've got this cure-all tonic. And there's tonic water, right? So gin and tonic, you can put those two together.
Right.
And then you squeeze some lime in. Vitamin C deficiency is scurvy. So you literally are fighting malaria and whatever juniper can cure and scurvy all at the same time in one drink.
Wow.
Oh, and we're having a good time.
And we're having a good time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that whole, long story short, the Garden Club really was because we felt it was natural fit with the
Guthrie.
cities. Yeah, absolutely. Own history, and who knows? One day maybe we'll start our own garden club. So
there you go.
Yeah, we'll see.
I like that. And so since we're kind of talking about where some of the names came from, let's talk about Same Old Moses.
Yes.
Let's talk about the story of that, because I just think if you don't know this story, it's really cool.
Yeah. So Same Old Moses, if you're from here, maybe you walked by the sign. It's just over on Harrison and west of Division. Same Old Moses was the first saloon in Oklahoma Territory, first kind of liquor store as well. We are obviously this theme of firsts. We found a lot of inspiration from Moses' story. If you want me to go into his story, I can certainly do that.
Just briefly about how, where he got his nickname from.
Yeah. So this guy was a entrepreneur extraordinaire. He was international. The guy, he was an Orthodox Jewish Hungarian-born man who moved here through Ellis Island. So a lot of bravery in that respect. Right. So then he becomes a part of westward expansion, moves to Kansas City, opens up a store as a grocer, and then at the same time, he obviously notices we have the land rush that's about to happen, so he jumps on that, moves to Guthrie. He immediately sees a gap in supply chain. There's folks that want whiskey here. This is a very dry area during that time. So he opens up shop as the first liquor store here, really with no business plan to do that. It was just a need that he saw.
There you go. Anyways, there's the history right there online.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So he just telegraphs back up to Wichita, Kansas that he needs, whiskey sent down with the next shipment of bananas. That's what he was selling. And they telegraph back, Same Old Moses. And he's like, oh, that's catchy.
Right.
And that names his bar, Same Old Moses, right? So we thought we would pick up the torch for him because there hasn't been a lot to give him any sort of homage since the beginning of statehood, 1907. So we gave him his name or his day in the sun again.
That's awesome. And again, tying into Guthrie, which is where you are.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
cool.
we're very proud of Guthrie in Oklahoma.
We love that. We love that you came in and then immediately just ran with the history and embraced our history here in Guthrie, because it's really important. I talk a lot about that on the show. People move here because of our beautiful architecture and our history, and it's important that we keep it alive, but we also are forward thinking, and move forward, preserving old but with new. So you guys are doing a great job of that for sure.
Thank
it's really
you.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, we love history. I mean, we're all the three of us guys that work in the office here. We have pictures of old pictures of Guthrie everywhere in our office, and now if you go to our tasting room, all of the black and white photos you'll see in there, they're just black and white because they were taken from around the period of territorial Oklahoma, early statehood. We just grabbed them from the Territorial Museum.
Love that.
We try to support
right here,
these guys
block
here.
away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Okay, so let's talk about what was Mac and Ikes.
Sure.
Mac and Ikes was here. We'll talk about what that was. And then what it is now, because I know there was some change recently, and people were worried that things were closing, but it all is for the good. So
yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, just real quickly, Oklahoma's laws have been prohibitive of alcohol for a very long time, and right now we're sort of in this warp speed of changing legislation. In 2012, when we opened the very first distillery here, there was an incentivized tax or fee, sort of like discount to get distilleries to open, but because there had never been one open, there just wasn't even a process to do. It was very difficult and costly. That's why it had never been done. And so we had to have some legislation sort of changed at that time. And then in 2014, breweries really, that's when they took off in Oklahoma because tap rooms were able to be open. Tap rooms are very important to anybody that produces alcohol. And then in 2018, we had the big 4-tier repeal where they went from a 4-tier distribution system down to a 3-tier, and that's what allowed us to also have cold beer in grocery store, strong beer in grocery store, and then cold obviously, in like liquor stores. Liquor stores can now carry things that don't have alcohol, like tools and glassware.
And limes.
That's
important.
That's huge.
You can grab your limes now.
You can one-stop shop.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, and so that was big for us. So before this, 10 years ago, it was a tough market, and so we still look at it like, Oklahoma is a very hard place to do business if you're in alcohol sales, but there's been a lot of changes. Well, the next change for us came in 2021 when distilleries were made legal. It was legal. Before this, it was illegal for us to have a visitor in our distillery. We could not sell directly to the public. We couldn't do tours. We couldn't do sampling. And so what happened in 2021 is we did all that COVID relief, right?
Right.
So we had the ear of the governor at the time, and so he basically signed an executive order that said distilleries can now not only serve alcohol to folks, but have a tasting room and be able to do tours. It evened the playing field for us and every other distillery in the country. Now that happened in 2021. Well, what also happened in 2021 is we had just built a tasting room and got tenants to come into our tasting room so they could own a bar and basically be a place where we could have folks come and try our stuff, but we didn't own it.
So that was Mac and Ikes.
That was Mac and Ikes.
Okay.
So that happened right before that the governor signed that law. So we had to honor the lease that we had with them, and once the lease was over, we wanted to take our space back and really be able to tell our story. Obviously, there's sales advantages because we can now sell our product directly to the public, and there's other things that come along with that. There's just net positives for the business. So it makes sense for us as a business. It allows us to make more money, allows us to be here, spend more money in the town, yada, yada. So Mac and Ikes became the wonder in just back, 3 months ago, 2 months ago.
Very fresh. Right around 89ers.
Right around 89ers.
Opened for 89ers. That was like the first.
That was our soft opening.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there it is. Wander in.
And
it just fits because people can wander in.
You can just wander in.
Right.
Yeah. We get a lot of punny jokes all
That's right.
day
We
long.
like the punny
I'm not
jokes.
even tired of it yet.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So you can come in. The only real difference, and I don't think it's a negative, is that the way that we serve our cocktails. Mm-hmm. So you come in, the spirit is on the side, and while you're enjoying the spirit, getting a nose or looking at it or tasting it by itself, we're building the cocktail without alcohol, setting it down with the spirit, and then you can take the spirit and add it to the drink at your leisure. Most folks, as a matter of fact, I don't think I've had but one interaction where people thought that it was a bad thing. Everybody actually really thinks it's cool. It's different.
Right. I thought it was different when I heard about it. I was like, wait, and there's a reason for that.
Yes.
Do you want to explain what the reason is?
The reason is we are technically not a mixed beverage establishment, which that's got two edges on it. So we're not. We don't have a mixed beverage permit, so we cannot mix liquor with any other non-alcoholic substances. We are allowed to serve the two alongside each other, and the guest can mix the drink because they're doing it. I'm not doing it.
Right.
The government's okay with it. We actually just had legislation passed to make that okay, because we negotiated. We wanted to be able to do the mixed beverage thing. We got pushback from legislators, and then we just found a middle ground, and this is the middle ground that we found.
Very cool.
We spent time down at the Capitol pulling for votes for this, a lot of time. And every other distillery in the state that was interested in it was with us, right alongside of us. So this is a cool thing. This is something that we're able to do because of work we did. What I like about it, the other edge to this, is we don't have a mixed beverage permit. That means if you come into our establishment and have your own mixed drink where you mix it, you don't have to pay the mixed beverage tax, which is a statewide excise tax of 13.5%, which is on top of your sales county city tax. So
right, which is what you're paying anywhere you go, or most other places when you go order a mixed drink.
You can't get away from get away from either one of those if you're getting a mixed drink. So 9% here in Guthrie, 13.5%, statewide for the mixed beverage tax. That's 22.5%. You might not notice it on your bill. It's there.
Right.
Somebody's paying that tax.
Yeah.
So that's the one cool thing about us.
That is cool.
The other thing is you can come right in and order or buy a bottle right from the bartender there. So you're able to get a retail bottle, same price that you'd buy it at a liquor store. We don't want to compete with our liquor store friends.
Right.
But we'll also do limited releases that are tasting room only. And then, of course, the people that are serving you the drinks, they're experts on what they're serving you. So That's it.
I think it's cool. Like
experts.
I said, I was a little bit like, what? You know, just thinking that was different. And then when I went, I was like, it's a whole experience. Like, you get your spirit in the branded glass, which is cool. And then, like you said, you can kind of mix it to your leisure.
Yeah.
Like, or sip it by itself. I mean, however you want to do it.
You do it one time, and you're like, oh, this is different. The next time, you don't even think about it. And now we've got regulars that come in. I mean, we have a great group of folks that come in often, not too often. And they
don't want to call anybody out here,
but they're right. They're with it. You know what I mean? And so you just got to come in, understand it. And once you get it, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's better than nothing, right?
No, I think that's cool. And you know, talking about regulars or visitors, a big part of what you do is tourism here in Guthrie.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you bring people in and kind of, you know, the tour side of things and the partnership now you have. Like, I know here at the Chamber, but tell them about kind of some of the ways you've been welcoming visitors to Guthrie.
So we, I will say, I'm going to give Derek credit here again, our sales and marketing director. So before Derek worked with us, he worked for a brewery in Oklahoma City. And breweries tend to have large parking lots. You got to be able to get semis in around those places. So there is an app that was created that was sort of an agritourism based app called Harvest Hosts. Harvest Host is basically an app that connects RV travelers, folks that have like Class A, Class B, bumper pool, or gooseneck sort of trailers traveling across country that want a place to stay that's plugged into the agritourism industry. So breweries, agricultural product, distilleries are too, wineries also. Like if you have a cantaloupe farm, I mean, you can have people come and pick cantaloupes.
Well, we have a few chamber investors that are on the Oklahoma agritourism list.
Okay, there you go.
We have Dunnigan Farms and Ladybug Lane Flower Farm.
So those are perfect examples of folks that could be harvest hosts themselves. The thing is, though, breweries and distilleries, because of the nature of what we do, they tend to have a little bit more visitors. Folks are just more interested in staying where they can have a drink. So we, being a distillery and being outside of Oklahoma City, folks that are coming south on 35 or going north, you're outside of the city, and so this is the perfect sort of area for somebody to pull off. They're comfortable in these big rigs. What we do is we offer them a free place to park their RV, and you know the agreement is that they come in, spend some money with us, walk around town, you know, give everybody a fair shot, really, and then they'll stay the night wherever they park. And originally we were having folks, and we still might, but there's the two public parking lots, which are here on Oklahoma Avenue, or there's one on Harrison. So they would park in one of those lots. It would only be one rig per night most of the time, and they're in after business hours. They come in, have a drink, walk around town, go to sleep, wake up early the next morning, and they're out of town. And that was okay, except folks were boondocking. And boondocking just means, if you're not familiar with being in an RV business or a camper, that means no power, no water. If you have any power, it's generator. So a lot of folks don't have those. And so what we have done now is teamed up with the city of Guthrie. I'm sure everyone knows, if you're watching this, you're plugged in. You've got that huge area over there, it must be 50 acres, which is the Cottonwood Flats. And there's so many places to plug in. And if you pay $20 a night to the city of Guthrie, that you can park there and use the power. Well, we collect these folks as the Harvest Host guests. We channel them or funnel them over there. We take them, we explain the city, give them a little packet that we pick up from the chamber.
Yes.
And they park there for the night, and we pay the $20 on their behalf. They spend money with us, and more often than not,
we hope they're spending money everywhere.
I was going to say they're spending money everywhere. They want to go over to the chocolate place. They want to go to the licorice man.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting dinner at one of these restaurants. They always ask where to eat. So
you've become this referral base that you're just sharing the love.
Absolutely.
Which we love.
Absolutely. And you know, we're getting more and more folks. Last month we had 12 guests come through, 12 individual campers. And I don't know how many people come on each one, two people. So probably like 25 people came. And this month we're at 13, and the months we're on the 23rd now. Yeah. So we're going to have more this month than we had last month because of that. We're able to hook people up with power. It's getting into the summer months. It's hot. Yeah. Nobody wants to sleep in the hot camper. So
from a camper girl herself. Yeah. No.
So this has been something great. Obviously, it works out for us. It works out for the city because the city gets their money, everything that they want. And then I'm assuming that it's working out for businesses here too. So
love that. We always say community wins, and that's how right there. So I love that. Well, we love that. I mean, you guys are one of our diamond investors with the chamber, and we appreciate your support and partnership, and we want to do more and more together, and continue to help you guys blow this up. And I just think you're doing so much good here and providing some fun and something unique in our great town. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. If anybody has any ideas for us to tell these people to do what they want to do also on the Harvest Toast, let us know. But we appreciate the chamber very much. Like I said, I come down there all the time for those little packets.
I know, I love it. So chamber investors, if you're listening or watching, bring us your things because they get shared.
Yeah.
and passed around.
We put a little bag and it has everybody in there.
Map of Guthrie from tourism.
Yep.
So we love that. Very cool. Well, is there anything else you want to add? What's the best way for people to get a hold of you? Social?
You can get a hold of us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We even have a LinkedIn page if you're into LinkedIn. But Wonderfolk Spirits or WF Spirits. If you want to get a hold of me personally.
There it all is. They have a TikTok.
Oh, yeah. Get up on that webpage.
Facebook, website, all the things. I will say really quick, I want to talk about the Spirits Locator. So funny story. I don't know if I've told you this story. I was in Bartlesville for a chamber conference last fall, and they were doing an auction, and I wanted to bring something from Guthrie, and I left my Wonderfolk Spirits at the office.
Okay.
So I got on the website because it was in the evening time, and anyway, your business hours are closed, and got on the website, went to Store Locator, looked up Bartlesville, found a liquor store in Bartlesville, right there.
There it is, yeah.
That sold Wonderful
Yes.
Spirits, and got what I needed.
No, you haven't told me this story.
Right
this
there. And so I got to share Guthrie in Bartlesville, and it was super cool. And I supported a local liquor store there in Bartlesville, but also you guys.
I love that story. This is something that I have actually done myself because I'll be out across
Where do we sell?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I forgot a bottle. And
I know. I did that exact thing. So now, I mean, I'm going to try to remember what I say I'm going to bring, but I didn't let down my chamber friends because I was still able to bring them some Guthrie from Bartlesville.
Yeah, you just tell them, I dragged us all the way here.
I know.
From Guthrie.
Yeah, it was, and there was a few of my other chamber friends with me from surrounding communities, and they were like, what wild goose chase are we going on? And I'm like, we are determined to find, because I knew there had to be somewhere in Bartlesville that sold it, and there you go. So you guys are, covering the map for sure.
We try, yeah. We've got three sales folks dedicated just to Oklahoma on top of Derek, and then we've got a guy in Arkansas, Kansas, and now a new one in Missouri and Nebraska, which is super cool.
So awesome, very cool. Well, keep on doing what you're doing. I know you have a new still coming. We didn't even get to talk about that, but or is it here?
Yes. So it's actually being shipped right now from Canada, a little town called Saanich, which is just across the bay from Seattle, and
it's exciting.
Yes, they loaded it up today.
I know how excited you are.
It's going to be here next week.
You're the master distiller.
If you come through, you'll see it. There's a lot of concrete dust and stuff everywhere because we're demoing to make room for everything, and
super cool.
It's very exciting. Yeah.
Yes, and if you, our Leadership Guthrie class has been able to go through the distillery as well. But if you have not taken a tour, don't be embarrassed to say, "Oh, I've lived in Guthrie for X amount of years and I haven't been in." Just book a tour and go check it out. What we have right here in our community, because it's super cool. So. All right, and what are the hours for Wander Inn? Let's talk about that, and then we'll.
Yes, so the distillery hours, because we are open in the distillery too. We're there Monday through Friday, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning until about 5 p.m.
Okay.
And that's every week. If you come through and the tasting room's closed because it's mostly an evening operation, just come around to the distillery and grab one of us.
Okay.
We'll walk you over to the tasting room and we'll do it up.
Awesome.
I'm happy to
and
do
I
that.
can vouch for that. They really do. They really do. Bring your friends and go have a private tasting. It's awesome.
And then the Wander Inn's hours on Monday and Tuesday we're closed for right now. Wednesday and Thursday we open at 2 p.m. and we close at 10 p.m. We never close early. That's 2 to 10. Okay. And then Friday and Saturday we open at noon. Also on Sunday we open at noon. But Friday and Saturday we stay open until midnight.
Okay.
And Sunday we're there until about 6 p.m. And so we're covered 7 days a week, whether it's the distillery or the Wander Inn, whichever way you slice it.
Okay.
But yeah, always check both doors.
Yes. And big part of Red Brick Nights, which the next one is coming up next weekend, July 1st. So they're open. You can go over and get your spirits for Red Brick Nights and enjoy the awesome show coming up, from fireworks to poppin'. Mm-hmm. Red Brick Nights is always great. I mean, that group does an amazing job. But July is kind of our, the bread and butter. Yeah. And so huge show, great music, awesome food trucks, vendors, and of course the Wander Inn. So there you go.
I think we're gonna have some bomb pops this year.
Okay, that
Yeah,
sounds fun.
we have to do that, right?
You
the
have
kids.
to do a bomb pop.
Oh yeah. That's one thing I should add. We only sell alcohol to people that are 21 and up.
That's good.
Okay?
I'm glad we're.
That's the law.
Glad
all
we're
right,
doing
folks?
that.
But we are a family-friendly
Okay.
area. So if you do have kids and you want to stop in,
You can wander in.
You can wander
with
into
your
the Wander
kids.
Inn. Yeah,
Okay.
It's all ages in there because it's manufacturing. It's
Okay.
And they have If you
That
want,
is good to know.
if we wanted to, we could do kindergarten tours. I mean,
Noted.
We're
Kindergarten.
probably won't do that.
Okay,
but
we
yeah.
won't tell Dr. Simpson that we're partnering with the schools. No.
Right.
Anyway,
but
yeah.
no, if you're with your kids and you're afraid that you can't commit, don't worry
Okay.
about it. Come on in.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool that the law allows that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, friend, for all that you're doing. You're killing it. You guys are awesome, and we love having you here in Guthrie. And of course, if there's anything that we can do, let us know. But
All right.
Thanks for being my guest on
Thank
today.
you for having me. This is so
Hopefully, you
cool.
all learned something, and be sure to check out Wanderfolk. And we will see you next time for another episode of Chamber Vibes. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to the Chamber Vibes podcast from Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful downtown Guthrie, America. Be sure and check out a new episode every other Monday. And until then, remember to choose Guthrie.